This segment of the Sports Narrative Radio Show is backed by Xena Communications. Internet, Wi-Fi, IT, cloud services, and security cameras. Get connected in your home or office today. Call or click for your free consultation in the DFW area.
Oh, very techy. Very nice.
I'm sorry, the music drew me to my iPhone.
Wait, it's ringing. People everywhere in their cars like, damn, my phone's ringing.
Yeah, that is a ringtone, isn't it?
Sounds like it.
Yes, especially that's that ringtone where you don't want to get yelled at for having your phone on.
You know what this is? This is the alarm clock. People all over the world are having nightmares that they just woke up.
We've gotten over the point in time where we've got to have that.
That's not good for you. It's good to wake up slow.
Yes. There was like a whole article I read, and I think it was Mr. Feltman who posted it, about this guy who went through like this 3-month-long experiment of the best way to get sleep and the best way to wake up, and like he went and I'm sure they sent it to him because he's writing for some tech magazine, but sent him like this alarm clock that slowly lights up your room and simulates sunlight and everything. And at the end of the article, he's like, I kind of felt okay when everything was said and done. Like it wasn't like he was, oh, I felt like a newborn, amazing, ready to go. So what I took from that was 3 months wasted.
Pretty much. Well, speaking of technology that is completely wasted on everything, let's talk about technology in the world of sports, because there's been a few stories in the last couple of weeks that have kind of caught my attention, and I thought, you know what, let's just kind of jam them all together into a discussion segment. So
push them together,
as it were. So, it's fascinating. One of the things we talk about in sports, there's it's gone through these various stages of, initially it was about the drugs and obviously the HGH. We all know about the steroids and all of those things. And then it kind of turned into, fitness, and then it, then we even had the run of, and kind of still do, with, Pete Carroll and the spiritual side, the Phil Jackson, the Zen, and the whole bit. Now I think we're reaching a point where the next generation, the next level, the next market inefficiency, if you will, is going to be technology.
Yeah.
And I've got a few different areas where I've seen this come up in the last week in various stories. The first one let's talk about is, of course, the strategy. And I start here in the world of football, as the Cowboys, the Dallas Cowboys, are introducing virtual reality.
I saw this.
Yes. As basically what they're going to do is be able to put you in a virtual reality. We've seen this week the Google has, they're going to build like a cardboard box you put your phone in, and that's virtual reality somehow.
You stick it over your eyes. Kind of like looking at a solar eclipse. You don't want to go blind. You just do it with your phone.
But you're staring at a phone that's an inch from your face. That's got to be good for you.
Of course.
Yeah. But hey, it's virtual reality.
Don't worry about the eye cancer. For the years you can see, you're going to think it's amazing.
Exactly.
I do that most of the time with my phone, though, just trying to read it.
Yeah, well, you and I are both blind, so it works out well. However, the Cowboys are going to introduce virtual reality where quarterbacks can take virtual reps, and basically it's all simulated for you. You see that it's like you're immersed in a Madden game.
But you can't get hit and hurt. So.
Right. And, this is the kind of thing, I think, as far as the developmental thing, especially for quarterbacks who are not getting a whole lot of time these days, in mini camps, especially during the season, being able to take these virtual reps, this could absolutely be a game changer.
Yeah, so what they're going to do is they've got the cameras on the practice field, and so they're running and recording from various different angles, and then this technology merges it all together. So if they look right, they'll see what happened when they move right. If they look left, they'll see what happened when they move left. So
wow.
It puts them basically under center, or of course you can do this for other positions, for
right.
Safety, particularly on defense, would be good to go.
Linebacker too, I think.
Yep.
So like backup quarterbacks, this would be great for them.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes.
Or a developmental guy, a guy like Dustin Vaughn for the Cowboys, or just guys that haven't had a whole lot of actual game reps. So it's called STRIVR, Striver, maybe. Sounds good.
What about the normal guy? Would you want to get in there and try that with how fast that game is?
Oh God, yes.
Oh yeah.
That would be terrifying.
Dude,
though.
and
you'd be moving in the middle of the reality, going
coming to a especially if it had like shock things or whatever,
like a ride
hit. Yeah. Coming to an NFL draft near you, the NFL Experience or the Super Bowl. The Madden game, I'm sure will
strap on a helmet, like literally put on a helmet, and in the visor is a little screen,
right,
and then it lights up. and you're in the middle of that last play on the goal line,
especially
1 yard away.
Yeah,
You
exactly.
can relive old plays and stuff.
Yeah,
That would be amazing
Or
if they
even
do
if
that.
you had to like call the play, so you have to come to the line of scrimmage and you're Andrew Lucking the thing or Peyton Manning it, dude. How
I
insane
would just
that
feel
be?
like less of a human being.
And that's
It would ruin the allure because everyone, we all armchair quarterback the day afterwards. If you actually had to quarterback, you just sort of watch the game and go, I couldn't do any better, so.
so it's fine.
That you know what that whole setup kind of reminds me of, like airline pilots and stuff. You know how that
Right,
the
yeah,
reality
the
of that they
simulators.
can land at any airport or whatever.
And that's kind of what I think it's coming to. The other thing that you're seeing is the drones. The Cowboys have been using drones. A couple other teams have actually done this as well, using drones in practice to get a different view, to get kind of the bird's eye view. And this is something I think that will also that's going to flow into the broadcast at some point as well. You would think
It's just a little drone
a little drone just floats
going
down.
over your head.
It's kind of like the camera they have now that just shoots down.
Right, yeah, they've got it on the wires right now, but I think those wires will go away soon, and you'll have a thing where like the drone's following the ball on a flight, like the kick, and it's just.
Well, they have the drones now that you throw up in the air and they just follow you around because you got the little transponder in your phone. So what we'll have a transponder in the football for a drone to follow it, but we still won't be able to tell if a guy broke the goal line.
Exactly. Okay,
I
so
thought the Patriots were using the drone already a few years ago.
well, yeah, exactly. They've probably been using it for a while
To deflate the
over
football.
everyone else's
Yeah.
field.
Yeah, over that's
Yeah.
what I'm saying.
Yeah, exactly.
The deflator drone.
Okay, so that actually brings me to my next category, and this is the one category of all these that I found that I couldn't find really anything of tangible necessarily, and that's the rules category. We start talking about, of course, teams using the technology to gain a competitive advantage, but the leagues themselves aren't using this same technology in order to find a way to to basically improve the game. I think this is something, we saw it a few years ago in baseball with the virtual strike zone, which I think, Mr. Kopening, you probably seem to have a bit of an issue with, if I remember.
I have an issue if they're going to try and enact that as the strike zone, Mr. Snopes. Like, do away with the umpires. However, I do like the K-zone technology as a training tool, and when we
Right.
get into baseball, I've got some notes about the no-hitter that was thrown
Interesting.
by the Giants, and specifically what the K-zone, the pitch FX tool said versus what the strike zone was for the umpire in that game.
And so that's a place where, I think, we've always talked about, put a chip in the football to see what line of scrimmage it's on, blah, blah, blah. With hockey, find a way that if it crosses the line, it lights up or whatever. These kinds of things. But that's something that the teams, the leagues themselves have been slow to adapt to, I think. And that's going to be fascinating to see if the teams are doing it individually, how that translates into the leagues itself. So here's a couple other categories on things that are happening. The next one I have is about safety/health. And there's two elements to this. One is the health side. We've seen, Chip Kelly, who came in with the Fitbits and the, monitoring the sleep and making sure, the nutrition side. And
Shakes.
I think that's a natural a development of where we were with the nutrition and taking care of yourself, and now finding new ways to do that. But now taking it to the technology side, obviously, if you give each of your players an Apple Watch, you're going to know where they are all the time. You're going to
Big
know
brother.
their blood alcohol level, potentially.
Yeah.
That will be fascinating to see just how that side of it works. Then there's the other side of it, and of course, what's the biggest issue in sports in just about every sport, health-wise, that's been a problem, is concussions.
Put it in the helmet.
Okay, so now helmet technology is one of the things they've been working on, but they seem to be still slow on, which is fascinating. If you've seen League of Denial. But other sports are also trying to address this, and one of those is baseball. As I don't know if you've seen this guy, but for the Astros, Colin McHugh wears the new reinforced helmet, or
On the
batting
mound.
cap on
Yeah.
the mound as a pitcher. And so what they've done is this new head guard for pitcher that basically has like a titanium lining in it.
Underneath his hat?
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
it's
I
in
haven't
the
seen
lining
that.
of the hat, and it protects the temples and all this kind of area.
Is it as visible as there's another pitcher in the league and he's got like it
The
looks
full
like a big
foam
like
thing, yeah.
foam thing around his head?
Yeah,
which,
no, that's different. So this is the funny thing. So I'm reading this article about Colin McHugh and the hat, and the first thing the article says is, how can we be very safe and still look good as a player? It's really about aesthetics, because ideally, yeah, we talked about there was the thing about let's have them wear batting helmets, or when they're all this kind of stuff, wear batting helmets. Well, that looks dumb, so we don't want to do that. The John Olerud situation, the former Mariners player who wore the batting helmet all the time. So it's that kind of thing. It's still about aesthetics. It's like the football helmet. I still want it to look cool. Even though if I put this big foam padding on it, it would be a lot better for my brain. Hey, maybe the 49ers should look into that. Maybe more on that in a moment.
Yeah.
As when we talk football here in hour number 2. So
I'm trying to find that hat. I'm just going to see if you can tell that he has some in there.
yeah, go check it out. The other place that you're seeing this right now is actually the Women's World Cup, which is going on as we speak. They've come up with a new headband that's supposedly, technology-wise, prevent concussions. And Ali Krieger, a defenseman for the U.S. women's team, is wearing this headband.
Mm-hmm.
And you really can't tell. I saw the picture, and there really was no difference. But apparently it's reinforced, and it's supposed to be more. What do you think about
you
that?
still have to
I can't tell.
have to head the ball with your. It's not perfect, but I guess it's something is better than nothing, right?
Right, and it's something where it's kind of, I don't know if it reinforces. I really don't know how it
Holds
works.
the skull in place so the brain doesn't reverberate as much.
And you've seen some of this in soccer. We've started to see a little bit more in like the EPL, and some people wearing the kind of the helmet type thing.
But where the argument for it doesn't look good falls apart is when you have situations like what you see a lot in women's softball at the collegiate level and high school level. Those girls will wear face masks, face guards. And when I was going to the University of North Texas and I had the privilege to work a couple of softball games, one of the pitchers' nickname was Hannibal, and it's because she wore that guard.
Nice.
And she got that nickname because when she was in high school, and again, you talk about how great parents and students are at good sportsmanship, the opposing teams would try to insult her by calling her Hannibal. And about like the second or third time it happened, she looked and said, "Yeah, I'm going to eat you alive," basically. And she adopted her teammates adopted the nickname, and it stuck.
Very nice.
So again, you can turn it around on it doesn't look as good if you really are worried about safety. Now, I don't know how these guards would protect against, a baseball coming off a bat at 105 miles an hour.
Yeah.
But they're getting there.
Right. And so the final place where I find that technology in sports is impacting it immediately is in the broadcasting, in the watching of sports. And this, of course, obviously, probably the most pertinent to all of us being sports fans. And the places I think you're seeing it is in a couple. Oh, I'm sorry, I actually had one more in safety, and that's microchips, if you've heard this thing.
No.
That is putting microchips in players in order to try
You can
to
control them on the field?
No, not quite that much, but it is kind of it's more of a health monitoring thing, but they're talking about ways to improve.
Maybe it helps out in a case of the name's escaping me. The star from last year who had the heart attack on ice or heart stopped on
Peverly.
ice. Rich Peverly. That could definitely help in those situations if you're monitoring, the current. You got, medical staff sitting there looking at the vital signs as they come across. You could look at things like dehydration, for instance. Should we get him in for an IV? Do we need to pump him full of more Gatorade? I could see that. You're still going to have to get a players' association and individual players to agree to have something implanted in their body.
Yeah.
I think of microchip. I think of some. I'm not going to throw out any names, but some people might not need as many handlers if they had a microchip in them. Oh, he left his house. Get over there now.
And that's kind of like a bracelet on your ankle too. It's a bit of a problem.
And maybe you could put like a taser, like a tase feature inside. It just sort of disables you temporarily until Jerry can get there and make sure, are you okay?
Josh
Yelling.
Hamilton, anytime he gets near Sherlock, he just shuts down.
That's not fair. It's been like 3 years.
Oh, yeah.
Find more by subscribing to this channel and visiting us at www.thesportsnarrative.com. Join us every Wednesday at 9 p.m. Central for a live edition of the Sports Narrative Radio Show hosted by Xena Communications.